Helen Flanagan hits out at Coronation Street for expecting her to parade in knickers at 16, and says the storyline wouldn't happen today. Helen Flanagan has launched a blistering critique of Coronation Street, accusing the long-running soap of placing her in sexually charged storylines while she was still a teenager, and questioning whether it was ever morally acceptable for the show to expect her to appear in her underwear at just 16. The actress, now 35, rose to national fame as a child star on the ITV institution, playing rebellious Rosie Webster, a role that turned her into one of the program's most recognizable young faces and cemented her place in British pop culture. But behind the on-screen success, Helen now says there was a darker undercurrent to her early years on the show, one that, she believes, reflects an era of television that would struggle to survive today's scrutiny. Speaking to The Mirror, Helen didn't mince her words as she revisited the storylines that helped make her a household name. Was it morally right that I was expected to parade about in my knickers like some mad nymphomaniac when I was still just a teenager? She said. It's a stark statement, and one that has reignited conversation around how young actors, particularly young women, were portrayed on screen during the 2000s, especially in mainstream soaps watched nightly by millions. A teenage star in one of Corrie's most controversial plots, Helen's comments center on one of her biggest and most notorious storylines, the plot in which schoolgirl Rosie is groomed by teacher John Stape. The storyline unfolded after John Stape met Rosie while teaching her mother, Sally, English literature, a connection that became the gateway to a disturbing relationship between the teacher and the teenage pupil. The plot escalated dramatically, eventually seeing Stape serve 2 years in prison after kidnapping Rosie for 5 weeks and locking her up in his grandmother's house. In later twists, the character went on to become a murderer, cementing him as one of the soap's most infamous villains. While Coronation Street has long been known for hard-hitting social storylines, Helen is now suggesting that the approach taken in her case blurred lines, particularly in the way it portrayed Rosie's sexuality. The controversial plot included bedroom scenes with actor Graham Hawley, who played John Stape and is 17 years older than Helen. That age gap, and the intimacy demanded by the storyline, is something Helen now views through a very different lens, and she believes modern TV would not allow it. I don't think it would happen now. Looking back, Helen says she was placed in situations she didn't fully understand, and at 16, she was far from equipped to navigate the implications of what she was being asked to portray. I had to do kissing and bedroom scenes with a man a lot older than me, she said. Obviously the actor, Graham Hawley, was lovely, but I don't think it would happen now. Her comments strike at the heart of a debate that has only grown louder in recent years: what constitutes appropriate material for a teenage performer, and whether consent can ever be fully informed when the person involved is still a minor and the environment is dominated by adults. Helen admits that at the time, she didn't have the vocabulary, or the confidence, to question it. When you're 16 you don't really know what's going on, and I was just happy to get the big storylines, she explained. But that excitement came at a cost. She revealed that some scenes left her feeling uneasy, even unsettled, after filming. But I had scenes as Rosie which didn't always sit comfortably with me, she said. I felt minging post-shoot. It's a candid admission that adds emotional weight to her criticism, the idea that, while the storylines might have been praised for the drama, they also left a teenage actor feeling uncomfortable in her own skin. Sexualizing Helen. A co-star's behind-the-scenes fury. Perhaps most striking is Helen's claim that she was not the only one who felt uneasy about the way the show framed her character, and by extension, her. She alleges that actress Alison King, who plays Carla Connor, lost her temper behind the scenes, furious about what she believed was the soap's decision to sexualize Helen. Helen says she didn't fully grasp the seriousness of the concern at the time. I didn't fully comprehend what she was talking about at the time, she said. I do now. I get it. That shift, from teenage confusion to adult understanding, runs through her comments like a thread. It's not simply regret, but the dawning realization that what felt normal at the time may have been deeply questionable. Coronation Street contacted for comment. Helen's allegations are likely to cause ripples not only among Corrie fans but within the wider television industry, as public expectations around safeguarding and intimacy coordination have changed dramatically in the last decade. The Sun has contacted Coronation Street for comment. Fresh bombshells, and a feud revealed in her new memoir. The timing of Helen's remarks is significant. They arrived just days after she made another explosive revelation, this time involving a secret feud with co-star Anthony Cotton. In her new book, Head and Heart, Breakups, Breakdowns and Being Rosie, Helen claims Anthony made a cruel jibe about her mental health that left her devastated. According to Helen, the comment was delivered as a punchline, but landed as something far sharper. "Here comes Helen Flanagan," he said. "You hear her rattling before you see her." To him it was a joke for a few cheap laughs, but this was my life. The quote, published in an excerpt serialized by the Daily Mail, paints a picture of a young woman struggling privately while still expected to perform publicly, both on screen and in the workplace. Helen says she didn't respond in the moment, overwhelmed by what she describes as being too broken. "I didn't respond, I was too broken," she wrote. "Instead, I went to the toilets and bawled my eyes out." It's a raw detail, the kind that turns celebrity gossip into something more human, more painful, and harder to dismiss, living with severe symptoms, and speaking openly about PMDD. Helen has previously spoken about the mental health struggles she has faced, describing what she calls intense symptoms that hit for around 10 days at a time. Those symptoms, she has said, include severe depression, sadness, hopelessness, worthlessness, anxiety, and OCD. She has also spoken publicly about having PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, an extreme form of premenstrual syndrome, PMS, that can significantly impact both physical and mental health. Her openness has resonated with many fans, particularly women who feel their symptoms are often minimized or misunderstood. Yet in her account, the environment around her did not always reflect understanding, and at times, she suggests it could be cruel. Would she return to Corrie? Despite the criticism, Helen insists she still has affection for the show that shaped her career, and says she would love to return to Coronation Street. However, she claims the feeling hasn't been mutual in recent years. Though she maintains she'd welcome a comeback, Helen says bosses have not reached out since her last stint in 2018. In the years since, Helen has built a new career path outside of soap acting. Now a mother of 3, she works as an influencer and model and has appeared on reality shows including Celebs Go Dating. She also has a high-profile TV history as an I'm a Celebrity star. Still, her connection to Corrie remains central to her public identity, and her recent comments show that connection is complicated, part pride, part pain, and increasingly, a desire to reframe the narrative of what she experienced as a teenage star. Her accusations may be uncomfortable for the show and for viewers who remember the storyline as gripping drama. But for Helen, it appears the conversation is no longer about entertainment value. It's about ethics, responsibility, and what young performers should never be asked to carry.